Randolph Scott suffered an premature and tragic dying due to an unanticipated cause, some day after revealing his secret to the public. A man who would cross on to come to be a true American hero turned into, born on January 23rd of 1898 in Orange County, Virginia. In a few circles, he is likewise called the Rough Rider. In this video, we will share the whole story of Randolph Scott and the way he died after revealing a mystery. His upbringing on a farm in the rolling hills and countryside contributed to the formation of the rugged and down-to-earth character that becomes so functional of him. He confirmed early symptoms of interest in lots of activities, which include sports, song, and theater, all of which could later play a role in his accomplishments within the enjoyment industry, especially in Hollywood. Scott attended the Virginia Military Institute because he had a sturdy interest in theater and drama. During his time at the Military Institute, he first started appearing in performances and musicals. Scott also honed his management abilities and organized himself for the demanding situations that were still to come back. Because of this early enjoy, he developed an interest in acting, and he, in the long run, determined to paintings within the amusement enterprise. After reaching extremely good success all through his Navy service, he transitioned to the movie enterprise and made his debut in the silent film enterprise inside the 1920s. Finally, in 1928, Scott signed a contract with Paramount Pictures and made a circulate to Hollywood. There, he appeared in some of silent movies and commenced his upward thrust to reputation as one of the maximum famous and iconic stars of the silver display. While the U.S. changed into engaged in World War I, Scott made his way to the thriving town of New York City. There, he held various jobs and honed his abilities as a performer. The years between the late 1920s and the past due 1950s are known as the Golden Age of Hollywood, a term wherein Hollywood set up itself because the epicenter of the American film industry. In a short amount of time, he made a name for himself as a main man, and by the point the 30s rolled around, he had become one of the most famous actors in all of Hollywood. During this time period, a few of the maximum famous actors, administrators, and writers of the era made their names in the amusement enterprise with the aid of contributing to movies, plays, and different written work. Randolph Scott turned into a well-known and distinctly successful actor in an extensive sort of films during the Golden Age of Hollywood. Films, along with The Virginian, Ride the High Country, 7 Men from Now, and The Tall T, are most of the director's maximum famous and severely acclaimed work from this term. The decade of the 30s changed into the start of Randolph Scott's upward thrust to stardom, which persevered well into the 1940s. During this decade, he set up himself as one of the most well-favored and successful actors in Hollywood by starring in a sequence of westerns and motion movies. The truth that he was tall and ruggedly good-looking, further to having the ability to deliver an air of confidence while last silent, contributed to his achievement. The audiences were captivated by means of Scott's commanding presence, and his chiseled capabilities cemented his region within the enterprise. When Randolph Scott again to Hollywood after serving in the United States Army in the course of World War II, his popularity turned into already on the decline due to transferring trends and vital reception. However, he managed to conform and keep his status as a massive player within the enjoyment enterprise. It is widely stated that Scott is one of the maximum talented actors of his generation. Because of his unflinching patriotism and undying love for his country, he sacrificed his successful acting profession to serve his United States of America during the battle. Throughout his career, Scott turned into continually genuine to his roots and his commitment to his United States of America. In addition, his contributions to the sector of amusement and popular tradition have endured to encourage and captivate audiences at the present time. In the 1950s and 60s, he had starring roles in some of successful TV suggests, inclusive of The Virginian and The Wild Wild West. These roles allowed him to illustrate the breadth of his appearing range and the enduring enchantment that he had maintained with audiences of all ages. These partnerships had been instrumental in advancing Scott's career and securing his function as one of the all-time greats of the Hollywood movie enterprise. Scott shared the display screen with such Hollywood greats as Cary Grant, Gary Cooper, and John Wayne, and he collaborated with famed filmmakers like Howard Hawks, Raoul Walsh, and John Ford. During the 60s, the movie industry started out going via a period of transition, which coincided with the decline in his recognition. As a result of the proliferation of new actors and the transferring choices of moviegoers, the number of roles that had been open to Scott shrank, ensuing in an increasingly more reduced variety of films. In spite of this hunch in his profession, Randolph Scott remained lively as an actor throughout the 60s and 1970s, appearing both in films and on TV. Despite the decline within the fulfillment of his movie career, Scott persisted to be active inside the enjoyment enterprise and remained a famous and revered parent. In addition to creating guest appearances on some of well-known TV indicates, which includes Wagon Train and The Virginian, he also labored as a voice actor for a whole lot of specific productions. Despite this, Scott's popularity continued to say no, as he shifted his interest to other projects in TV. After a distinguished performing profession that had spanned greater than many years, Randolph Scott introduced in 1965 that he might not be acting. His legacy keeps to inspire and have an effect on filmmakers and actors, too, at the moment, and he is nevertheless considered an essential and influential parent within the records of Hollywood. In his later years, he obtained a number of awards and accolades in addition to reputation for the skills and affect that he had displayed at some stage in his life. His first marriage, which turned into to Margaret Herbert, took place in 1928 and resulted in divorce in 1930. Randolph Scott had a total of 3 unique marriages at some point of the path of his lifestyles. After failed marriages, Scott tied the knot with Patricia Stillman in 1936, and the couple remained married until Scott's passing in 1987. One day, after revealing that he had met Cary Grant in Mystery, Randolph Scott became taken from us in a way that became both tragic and surprising. In the final years of his existence, Scott suffered from some of serious ailments, which includes a susceptible heart, problems together with his breathing, and multiple hospitalizations due to pneumonia. His loss of life occurred on March 2nd of 1987, whilst he became 89 years old. But his legacy has persisted till now. Because of his charismatic on-display screen presence and his rugged, desirable looks, Scott turned into one of the first actors to play the character of Billy the Kid. Whether you have been partial to Randolph Scott your entire life, or you are just turning into acquainted together with his paintings for the primary time, he'll absolutely leave an indelible mark on you. The film industry and popular way of life will preserve to sense the repercussions of his affect for many generations to return. In easy phrases, Randolph Scott turned into a successful Western and motion-famous person in Hollywood's golden age, regarded for his commanding presence and chiseled capabilities. He labored with Howard Hawks, Raoul Walsh, and John Ford, and starred alongside Cary Grant, Gary Cooper, and John Wayne. During World War II, he gave up his success acting career to serve his United States of America. But his contributions to leisure and popular tradition endured to encourage and captivate audiences. That's it for these days. Thank you a lot for looking.